Entering the fourth race of the 2009 Indy Lights season, there were quite a few storylines. J.R. Hildebrand, off the back of his win at Long Beach the race prior, entered Kansas as a reigning winner of the event. Another big storyline was one of the rookies, with 13 drivers in the field today having never raced on oval, with one of those drivers being Sebastian Saavedra, who qualified second. Saavedra sits 6th in the points, tied with Frenchman Richard Philippe. The biggest storyline though was the weather. The Midwest breeze came to Kansas Speedway in full force on Saturday, April 26th, with wind gusts encroaching nearly 35 miles an hour, testing weak trees and comb-overs alike. Wade Cunningham would start this race from the pole position, alongside Sebastian Saavedra. Alistair Jackson would start last after crashing his primary car in practice, forcing him to go to the backup car. I would briefly talk about his career, but I've already made a video about it. Feel free to watch that by clicking the car in the top right. With a handful of people in the grandstands, and Kansas Lottery Commissioner Joni Franklin giving the command, the fourth race of the season was ready to get underway. After an aborted start on the first attempt, the race would get underway, despite the field looking even less organized on take 2. Wade Cunningham would pull into the lead with Sebastian Saavedra sitting in his slipstream, and the rest of the field shuffling for position. It was a clean start, but it wouldn't last long. Just as Sebastian Saavedra tried to take the lead from Wade Cunningham with a bold move around the outside of turn 2, the caution would come out for a crash. Jesse Mason would spin in turn 3 and collect Richard Philippe. Both drivers would sustain race-ending damage in the crash, but thankfully get out of their cars under their own power. It was ruled that Wade Cunningham was ahead at the time of the caution, which is a questionable call at best. But regardless, this would put Saavedra in second on the restart on lap 10. On the restart, Saavedra didn't waste any time, getting a great restart and taking the lead around the outside entering the second corner. Saavedra would lead his first lap of the race, but he wasn't out of the blue just yet. Cunningham would try and pass him 2 laps later, but would ultimately be unsuccessful. On lap 16, the second yellow of the race came out. After last place starter Alistair Jackson spun in turn 3 and hit the wall, it caught Rodrigo Barboza out so much that he slammed on the brakes, giving Russian Sergei Monchenstev no time to react. Sergei would ramp over the back of Barboza, getting airborne, flipping and then landing upside down next to the wall. In the days before the halo, Monchenstev was lucky to escape from the accident with his life, let alone without serious injury. On the next restart, Saavedra would once again battle with Wade Cunningham but would still control the race. Only a few laps later, the third caution of the race would come out for Gustavo Jakoman spinning in turn 3, yet miraculously keeping it out of the wall. For that reason, the caution would be brief, and we would get back running just 2 laps later. I wish I could say the next restart was finally clean, but that wasn't the case. Once again, we'd have a crash in turn 3. This time it was Pablo Denso who would slam into the wall all by himself. Sean Guthrie, meanwhile, would spin in the incident but not pick up any damage. Then, believing that he belonged in a higher position, would drive overly quick during the ensuing yellow flag, overtake some cars, and was subsequently black flagged. He wouldn't serve the penalty though, and thus after the race he would be banned from the series indefinitely, along with his father, former Indy Racing League winner and Sean's team owner Jim Guthrie. After the incident was cleared, the race would get restarted, and for the only time that race, we had a double-digit amount of green flag laps in a row, that being a 19-lap stretch from the lap 49 restart on. Like every green flag stint since lap 10, there's another battle for the lead between Sebastian Saavedra and Wade Cunningham, and like every other time, Sebastian wouldn't be unseated. When the 5th caution of the day came out for a crash between Pippa Mann and Dylan Bastianini yet again in turn 3, fluid was left on track. Race officials would see the 5th incident in the same turn, in the same race, all caused by high winds that had picked up even more, and had also seen the ongoing track work at 3 laps to go, and decide that the race wasn't worth going to a green flag finish. After 67 laps, 33 of which were under yellow, Sebastian Saavedra at the young age of 19 would score the win under the caution flag. In doing so, he went from 6th in the championship to 3rd, now only 7 points out of the championship lead.